All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk more about the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk, one of our more popular topics here on this show. So I know the news broke that Brandon Aiyuk, requested a trade from the Niners, and I don't really have confidence that they're going to be able to. Well, I lean more towards he's going to be gone as opposed to he's going to be staying. However, the 49ers have dealt with similar situations like this in the past. So, Deebo Samuel requested a trade back in April of 2022. And he was, in fact, not traded, and he ended up getting a 3-year deal, $71.5 million, in late July of that year. And Deebo Samuel, of course, is a very important player to this offense as well. And another player, too, now plays a completely different position, and that's kicker, and that's Robbie Gould. Back in 2019, he requested a trade, but he wasn't traded. Instead, he got a 4-year extension in July of 2019. So the 49ers have dealt with this before. And Adam Schefter said, because I was listening to, a segment of him talking, and he said, the 49ers, they don't want to trade him. So, I don't know how this is going to play out. This is just going to continue. And who knows when, if anything's going to happen. But if they could get a deal done with Aiyuk, that would be huge. So we'll see what happens. But, you had other players as well. T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson, they've, talked about, playing elsewhere, and that's still very likely. But, they're still Bengals. T. Higgins is going to play under the franchise tag. Yeah, Lamar Jackson, if you remember. That was a big deal. He requested a trade from the Ravens, and he had teams, interested. That ended up not happening. He got his 5-year, $260 million deal. Kenny Pickett requested a trade after, Russell Wilson signed, and he got traded to the Eagles. These are ones that actually, ended up going through. So Elijah Moore, Kenny Pickett, they requested trades. Elijah Moore requested a trade from the Jets, and he ended up going to the Browns. So, but that's just other teams. The 49ers, they have kept their players. So that should give at least, fans of the team, just a little bit of hope that he's going to stay. He's going to end up staying. Everything's going to be fine. And we go from there. But the problem is, again, long term, you got all these players that are making a lot of money. You're going to have to cut ties at some point because you're not going to be able to keep everybody. But I don't know. This has just been... It's honestly irritating, this situation. I don't lose sleep over it. It's not like it bugs me 24/7, but it's just when I have to come on and, you got to think about, things to talk about because, we're still in the off season here. And again, it's more Aiyuk stuff and just, it's in posting stuff on social media. And it's just, can we get to a resolution here? And I know I said this already, but I'm going to say it again. Let's figure this out. Are you going to stay or are you going to end up going somewhere else? Now, I think he should not hold out if it impacts the regular season for an extended period of time. I think anybody that holds out for an extended period of time and it takes a big chunk out of the regular season, you're only hurting yourself. Because you're going to end up like Le'Veon Bell. I'm against holding out for an extended period of time if it impacts the regular season. Now, you could look at I think about it now. Calvin Ridley basically missed 2 years and, comes back and he had over 1,000 yards. So, you could also make the argument that, hey, look, he missed an extended period of time. It didn't matter. I still went out and had over 1,000 yards. But I don't know. I just think you're only hurting yourself by holding out. Especially, like, during the regular season. Because I just don't think that does you any favors, in my opinion. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, Ridley had, 1,016 receiving yards. So he literally just got over the 1,000 yard mark. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I mean, you could say I'm wrong, but yeah, it's just we just got to continue to play that waiting game. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say it. It's just like I said, it's irritating because we want to get to a point where they agree on something or they have to move him. But there's some teams they said the Commanders. I saw the Commanders are favorites, Steelers, maybe. So there are teams that definitely will try to, jump in and try to get him. I don't know where my friend saw this, but he said that. Well, I did see that the Raiders could be a team. My friend said that they could do that. Potentially, there could be like a Aiyuk for Devontae Adams swap, which that would be a very weird trade, but I don't see that happening. I mean, listen, if the 49ers have Devontae Adams, I mean, that would be, I think Devontae Adams is a better receiver than Brandon Aiyuk. So, but you're taking on a big contract, but he's another guy that could be traded. There's people talking about him going to the Jets. So, yeah, like I said, just got to keep playing the waiting game. And at some point, we're going to get to a resolution, but it doesn't look like it's happening. But I think it's encouraging to know that the 49ers have had things like this happen in the past, and they've been able to agree, come to an agreement with their players, like Deebo, and like I said, Robbie Gould. But at some point it's gonna be a problem because Brock Purdy's gonna be wanting a new deal, and the 49ers are gonna have some tough choices to make. So that's something that could definitely throw a wrench into things, and they might have to cut ties with some people. But like I said, only time will tell, and that's we just got to keep playing the waiting game. So, but I'm hoping that he stays because I think that the 49ers are a team that can win a championship, and I feel like there's not that many teams that could say that. They've been a team that for years they've been really close, but they fall short. And I don't know, if you go to the Commanders, I mean, it's going to take some time to kind of build this team up. I mean, if he goes to the Commanders, that definitely helps him out a ton. That helps Terry McLaurin out. I mean, you go to the Steelers, that helps out George Pickens, and helps the quarterback situations there. Gives him another weapon. But it's just, I feel like the 49ers, if you want, but what is he wants to get paid. But, if you go to a team that's, not in a position to, to win, I mean, maybe they get there eventually, but, the 49ers are ready to win right now. The Steelers, they could be a playoff team, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. Unless Russell Wilson plays like how he did in Seattle. The 49ers are in a prime position. They've got to break through. And can they do that finally? It's tough. And, who knows if they get home field advantage this year? The Lions are going to be coming for them. The Eagles. It's going to be tough. And, they've made it to, so let's see, they've made it to 3 straight NFC Championship games. And they've made it to 4 in the last 5 years. They made it back in 2019, and they, the 2019-2020 season, they played the Chiefs, lost. The COVID season, they dealt with a ton of injuries, so, throw that season out the window. But when they're healthy, you see what they could do. They are a very good team. They are the class of the NFC. As I did that Greg Olsen segment when he was talking about the 49ers being the team to beat. So, Aiyuk's an important part of what they do. And if they lose him, it's going to be tough. You're going to have guys step up. The young guys, Jawan Jennings got a new contract, so, he's going to take on a bigger role. But you can't lose Aiyuk in the short term. But that's just me. He wants that big contract, and he'll get it at some point, but it might not be with the 49ers. It might be with somebody else. And he's perfectly okay with that. And it's different. It is different from our perspective because we're not in their shoes. We could easily say, oh, well, I want to stay with my team. I want to be loyal. Well, unless you're Jalen Brunson, you're going to take the top dollar. And if it's elsewhere, then so be it. I mean, we've seen that all across sports. I mean, Jalen Brunson took a $100 million discount to stay with the Knicks, which I love, but that's a lot of money you're leaving off the table. Now, he could eventually earn that money back, but yeah, I bet you didn't think I was going to bring up basketball here, huh? Yeah, well, make sure to check out Nelson's show. See, look at that. Great way to advertise one of our shows. But yeah, it's easy for us to say we want to stay with our teams. But, a lot of these guys, they don't want to do that. They're like, we want to get top dollar. And we'll go wherever. And a lot of times it's a mistake. Because you could be leaving a very good situation going to a team that's, not as good, is rebuilding, whatever. And then you're stuck there. But you got your new contract, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. That's just me. Yeah, so Aiyuk is going to get paid. It's just a matter of when. And it might be with the 49ers, might be with another team. Like I said, we got to keep playing the waiting game. But let me know what you guys think, though. Again, there's some things to be positive about. The 49ers have dealt with similar situations like this in the past. So this could be the latest where they get a deal done. So we'll keep an eye on it. But we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we will talk about Bill Belichick. We talked about him a little bit yesterday. We'll talk about his comeback plans. To be back on the sidelines, which I think we all know he wants to. But I wanted to get into that, so we'll discuss it when we come back from our next break. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.